Hello and welcome to Jamie's Motion Graphics. Today we have a tutorial on expressions. I won't explain everything there is to know about expressions, just the basics so you can actually understand what they're used for and you can Google the rest yourself. Let's dive right into it. Okay, here we are once again in After Effects. We're going to start off with a new composition. It is going to be Comp 1. I don't really care what it's called because this is just a demonstration. We're going to put a layer in here and it's going to be a shape layer, why not? And we're going to make a star. So there's our star. So what we're going to look at is expressions, and we're going to do that by just building them. And I'm not going to go into full detail on what you can do and what you can't do and how to do everything. I'm just going to teach you kind of the beginner's guide here. So expressions are ways to make movements and well, animations without actually having to keyframe. So for example, first of all, to access the expressions, it says so alt-click. So alt-click, you get the expression thing and it just says rotation currently. We're just deleting that. And we're going to put in time times 100. What this does is for 1 second it will move 100 units. So in this case it's rotation. So it will move 100 degrees per second, which is, yeah, it's okay. It's not super fast, but it's an okay travel time. So if you want multiple lines, which you can, you hit the enter key, which is the one on your main keyboard. If you are done, you hit the return key, which is the one next to your numpad. So I'm going to hit the return key, and you will see that even without keyframes, because we didn't keyframe anything, this will start rotating. And it's rotating, as we can see, to the right, because the positive direction is to the right in this program, which is the exact opposite of what it is in, well, normal mathematics. But hey, that's the way it is sometimes. If you wanted to rotate the other way, just multiply by minus 100. Or put minus time, but it's the same deal. So now it will rotate to the left, as you can see. It's really fairly easy to understand. If you wanted to rotate faster, I already said how this works, but yeah, just set it to 200 and now it will rotate a lot faster, and it will still go left. So the whole expression thing, it's very useful if you want to calculate stuff. For example, if I want one rotation in 8 seconds exactly, I know how many degrees I need to rotate to get there. So no, let's do a simpler one. In 10 seconds I want one rotation. So that means 360 degrees in one rotate or in 10 seconds. So this is just 360 divided by 10, which is 36 in this case, but yeah, it should be fairly straightforward. So if I wanted to do 360 divided by 8, that's fine as well. Then it will just rotate once in, you can keep track. So this would be the one revolution, and that's exactly 8 seconds. So you can make very precise movements while doing nothing with keyframes. And of course you can put keyframes on top of this, so you can use both at the same time, but not on the same rotation thing. If you set the keyframes on the same property that you already had an expression, it will just ignore the keyframes, which you will see here because I actually put this forward to quite a bit, and I'm just going to show you. So this should change the rotation speed. I'm just going to show you that it doesn't. There, it's still rotating at the same speed. You can see it from the numbers as well, that it's not going to reach nearly the amount that we put into the keyframe. So yeah, keyframes don't work with expressions. You can, however, pre-compose this and then put the rotation on it. That does work. So yeah, that should be fairly easy. So next one then, let's because I showed you time, which is a very common one, I'm going to show you index as well, and then I think the rest should be, well, Googled by you guys, because there are so many expressions that could be useful that, yeah, you will just have to learn about them. So let's set the position here and make it into an expression. So Alt-click on the stopwatch, and you can, by the way, also link to other stuff. So if I had another layer, I could link this position to a position of another layer, or a rotation of another layer, or whatever I wanted to. But you can use that expression in your expression. So we'll do that in a moment. So what I wanted to show you is index. So let's just set the position is this position. So this is the current position plus index. Then it will move. Oh, that's the wrong enter. It will move 1, but you will not even notice it. You can see the position is now 1 because the index is this number, so the layer number. But the funny thing is, if I duplicate this, oh, let's set it a little bit higher, I guess. Plus index times 20. So we can see the effect a little bit more. And then if we want it to be in the middle, we can do minus 20. Then this one is in the middle. It's at 0, 0. You can see that. And now we're going to duplicate this mask or this layer a couple of times. And you can see that they're offset exactly by 20. Well, I can show you that they're offset exactly by 20. So if we go to layer 11, which would be this one, which is 10 layers away from, well, our layer 1, it maybe look a little bit weird because when it's not layer 10, but it's layer 11, because, well, from 1 to 11 is of course 10. Yeah, this one should have 200. And there you go, 200, 0. So it's exactly a 20 offset every index. And yeah, you can of course make your expression however complex you want. It will just copy paste it into all of them. And that is really nice. So let's delete all of them except for one. And if we hit U, we can actually delete the expression because we no longer need it. So let's do something that is a little more complex. I don't want position, I want rotation, because rotation only has one value. And we're going to set it to 0 here. So this one is just easier to use. So let's say we want to have an expression that that goes with time. You can do it as simple as just putting in time times 100, which is good for this particular expression. But if you want more complex expressions, you can do something like x is 100 times time, and then my rotation is going to be x. So this seems like a little bit overdone, but the way this works is the last thing that's actually on the screen here, that's what or on the expression, that's the one that is going to be applied. So if I'm saying x, then it's going to take x, but if I say 100, it's going to take 100. Also, you can't, or you can comment like this, but you can't end on a comment. So if you do this, it will give an error. There you go. No matching closing bracket found, brace found, sorry, which is kind of stupid, but that's the way it is. And that's because this is a comment. If I put this comment over here, it's the exact same thing. It works. And now it will work with 100 times time, which is exactly what we had before. But yeah. So you can make complex expressions by saying y is 10 minus time divided by 2. And then I can say x plus y. I have no clue what the answer is here, obviously. But you will see that he does. So he's going to just work with it and just use it to calculate wherever he is. So there are limits to it, of course, but there's limits to everything. So this is your basic stuff. So just you can make variables, you can put in several equations. Most of the mathematical equations look like this. So math, and then for example pi would be like this. So if I said pi is math.pi, then now I can multiply this by pi. I can also just put this in, of course, but yeah, just for demonstration purposes, I think this is enough. And now it will just calculate something different. It's expressions are fairly easy to understand, so how they work. It's just not as easy to understand when to use them. So let's connect two layers. We're going to use. I just copied this one, so we're going to delete the expression here, and we're going to say this rotation. So we already have an expression. But this rotation is going to depend on the other rotation. So we're going to use this pick whip here, and we're going to go to the top, and we're going to select the let's select the position. So the one thing's position is now going to be, well, because this is in the end, it's now going to be exactly the rotation. But let's put this into our y value. So currently we have x and y. X and y or y gets multiplied by pi, and then the y is actually the position of that other guy. So this becomes a little more complex now. And you can, I'm going to divide this by 100 and end with a semicolon, because otherwise it becomes a little bit messy. And of course we need to address this. Position is a two-dimensional vector. It has x and y, and if you put on the 3D layer, it also has z. So we have to address this by putting this 0 between these sharp brackets, because otherwise it will have, well, no clue what you're trying to do. It just doesn't understand whether it should pick x or y or both and how to maneuver them, and it's going to be in trouble. So now if we move the position of this one, the other one starts rotating. And this is without moving the time bar, I'm just saying. So it's a slow rotation because I divided by 100. But we can move it up. So if we want to have divided by 10, it will be 10 times as fast. And we're going to just move this one, and you can see it's a lot faster now. So you can make very fancy stuff with this, just as long as you understand what you're doing. And as I said, you can just calculate by hand what some of these values mean. Like, these are degrees, so if you move 100 in position, you move 100 degrees. Well, my entire thing is 1200 wide, well, 1280, which means that the maximum movement is 1200 divided by 10, that's 120. So currently, without the pi then, I move this by 100 for the time, and then 120 for the amount of movement that this thing can do. It's as easy as that. So you can easily calculate that if you want to make sure that you have the right values. Also for rotation, yeah, it's degrees. For position, it's units, so pixels. Yeah, you can figure it out for the rest. Well, that's all I have to say for now. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something today, and I will see you next time.